welcome to yet another episode of the Enterprise Digital Podcast, 46, I believe.
46, 47.
46, and for those watching in black and white, we're both in green, different shades of green, but we're also in video, which is unusual for us.
It is, yes, for real people.
We normally hide under the cover of darkness and audio, but here we are at the SIT show.
It's a great disappointment to be on camera, I'm sure.
Sorry?
It must be a great disappointment for the audience to finally see us.
Our long-suffering audience member finally sees
sticking
us.
with us.
Yeah. So, we've been doing, actually, first day I've been doing quite a lot of interviews. We've had a walk around the show. It's the first show for two and a half years of any size.
And we should start there.
Yeah, I mean...
What are your impressions of being back at the SIT's back on again, the last day and a half that you've been walking around talking to people? What do you think, Buckley?
It kind of makes you realise and remember, actually, that we probably took a lot of this for granted, actually meeting directly with people.
Yeah.
And just so much of the, we create this world on Zoom and Teams that does a lot of things really well, but it misses out on the hide beauty stuff, all things counter original spare. They happenstance. You bump into people.
Yes.
You meet somebody and they go, you should meet that person.
Yes.
And they go, well, then you should meet those. Oh, they're here, so let's talk.
That's right.
The interactivity that we have between people. So that's been wonderful. Have you noticed much of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. You can't replicate the real thing with Zoom and Teams or even virtual events because you don't catch somebody's eye. Oh, it's that person that I saw 2 years ago. Great to see them again. You can't do that. You're absolutely right. So there is that. What about the industry itself at this event? Do you feel it's the same message? Are we saying the same thing?
Actually, it's moved on. I mean, it has been a natural gap, so you would hope that things would have changed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's definitely, and from all the discussions I've had, it's all big up on experience management, as we hear. But I've heard, seeing it practically on I've not spent hours looking at software demos, but I've seen people talking about it, I've seen their signage, I've occasionally dipped into things, and it's there one way or another, either, new late adopters, people that have been doing it for a while, that are getting to the next level and talking about what goes wrong with it and how to make it work. So that's a big one. I think the other one is this, continued convergence. We'll see how it works out because the competitiveness has been hidden for 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
I haven't seen massive difference in what people are selling necessarily.
So what's the convergence you see then?
Just around a number of things, the importance of things, the emphasis on experience, the emphasis on people. Just did a panel on mental health and employee well-being, packed. Everybody really, and we asked the audience how many of you are doing something on this. It was only about half. And I said, of those of you that are doing it, how many of you think you're doing it well? About half again. So 25% are doing that well. So there's lots of room there. But all those things, people, employee satisfaction, and that, using data well and using multiple types of data well. It's not one size fits all. Those things I think are all much more out in the fore than they were before. I don't know whether you picked up any of that.
My impressions, I was thinking about this before jumping on the stool. You can see, and it's been like this for a few years at SITS when we would meet up. There are the vendors that are selling the ITSM tools, and they're kind of the big spikes, the brand names everybody knows. There are the smaller ones that have all of the additional technologies that add on to it. So you notice how I'm the technologist, so I'm talking about the technology, you talked about the people. That's really good. So you've got all of these add-on automation and reporting and communication and collaboration components that fit around it, and then you've got the big ITSM ones. I think you mentioned experience. I was looking for enterprise service management. I was looking for experience and service management. I didn't see as much experience as I expected. I think some of the ITSM vendors haven't got it yet. I think next year it'll be even stronger because it's something that's coming into service management. And I saw enterprise, the other E, still consistently there, still being used across the organisation as a whole. That's there too, but I don't see that as a big growing, that's like a standard that's now established.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, and enterprise is the other area, but I think one of the things about enterprise and some of the other discussions that I've had and outside, there's still quite a lot of opportunity for that as to where it goes from an industry perspective. I mean, are we really just talking about moving towards talking about this as service management, or are we talking about this as still being fairly well nested in IT? Or are we just, we're talking about all the other things. You've got automation, data analysis, all those things that are endpoint management, all those things that are all part of the same mix. That's what I was meaning, that they're all there, they're probably more established than they were. The other thing I was going to say about the industry in terms of vendors is that I really have noticed that so many of them now have got different ownership. They've been M&A activity, they've been bought, they've been invested. Pretty much all of them, or all of the kind of established ones that were for years traditionally small privately owned, they have some money behind them now.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because the large acquiring mega vendors that already have technologies in other areas are recognizing that as an IT operations vendor, they need service management in their portfolio. You just can't be a credible large IT operations provider without something that automates, something that collects, something that services. You have to have these components. Otherwise you're weaker compared to the other vendors there. People are looking for a solution, I think, that can bring together fixing things, detecting things, and improving people's ability to do their job. So I think it's a natural evolution where we're seeing those single vendors being acquired into larger and larger portfolios.
And I think it's got to be good as well from the point of view that they mostly now have the resources and finance to properly develop. All your kind of product management stuff and how, because several of them that I can think of, I won't name, but that have strung along for a long time on a good customer story and on a good traditional story, but haven't been able to really keep up in terms of investment.
It's very hard to grow. You can be successful in a particular market or with a particular audience. Maybe you're very strong with UK public sector. You can be successful in that way to a certain level, but it's very hard to grow any larger. Now, it depends on your business plan and it depends on your strategy and, is there an exit strategy for the founder of the company? And that's when these things happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is there anything that's obviously missing from your quick skim around?
Well, as I said, I think you mentioned experience. I didn't see as much as I expected to see.
Okay.
I came in expecting to see it much more. I don't think it's been recognised yet by all of the people that are that have the stands and the booths here. So I'm expecting to see more of that. That maybe is the only one. Lots of people in the presentation sessions. There's one going on over there right now. All the seats are full.
Yeah,
that's really good. But a lot of the middle space is quiet. So they're coming in. These are interested people that are coming to the show, and then they're going to hear what's being talked about, and then they're going to get a coffee, and then they'll talk to somebody on a stand. Do you remember back in the old days at the SITS show, Barclay? Do you remember 15 years ago when it used to be people in fancy dress with loud music and lights?
You had an ice rink.
We had an ice rink on the booth I was on one year.
Damn.
We had the Blues Brothers playing, not the real Blues Brothers. We had a band playing that were dressed as the Blues Brothers. We had the Star Trek, what was it called? The bridge on Star Trek with the chairs and the screens. All that silliness has gone. which is good.
Yeah.
It's much more professional now. It's much more serious.
I think so. I think the venue helps. So we're in a modern exhibition venue for a number of years. We were in
It's not about gimmicks.
One that was a bit drippy around the edges, or more than that. So I think that does make a difference. Yeah, I mean, I think there's less frivolity and I mean, I've spoken to quite a few organisations, people that I know that have come, they've come 2 or 3 people. They used to come 6 or 7. They're still here to do what they need to do and see a few people and talk to a few vendors and attend a few presentations. So, I mean, I think there's probably not as many people as we have normally seen before, but we'd have expected that. But it's been quite a good regular buzz all the way
I hear
through.
the first day. I wasn't here for the first day. I hear it was very busy. I hear it's really crowded. So clearly, it's still bringing the people. It's still working, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. So, just sort of looking forward in terms of events, and not just talking about events, but what we're doing in the industry. It seems to be opening it up. There seems to be more conferences and getting back out there. What do you want to see at a conference these days, or an event? And I accept that people like you and I have been doing this for a long time. We probably have different expectations than those that are buying or whatever. But what do you think we should be having or getting or doing at these events? Because they've got to change, they've evolved really, haven't they?
Yes. I think you should have prepared me this question so I could have worked out a really good answer in advance.
But that's what I do. I'm not here to make you happy.
What works, I found, thinking back over similar... So, you've got SITS, you've got the SDI, you've got ITSMF, you've got PINK, you've got HDI, you've got all of these great things that go on. What I always get value from, this is going to sound weird, is it's a break from the day-to-day real work where you sit and you listen, and you listen to people that maybe you're picking up ideas, there's a presentation going on, and your brain suddenly goes, that's important, that's significant, that's interesting. And you gather these nuggets, and sometimes it's not even what they are talking about, it's something they mentioned which makes a connection in your brain that you wouldn't otherwise have made. So I find I come to events like this, big value meeting people, massive value, but I also come away inspired with ideas to take back to the day work and things that I meant to do and things that I'm going to do next. And it gives me a boost of energy off the back of that.
I think that's great. And I also think that you tag those thoughts to the event and the people that you meet. Because you might have that thought sitting on the number 23 bus and then it's gone, or at work and then you get busy. Whereas actually, because you've got the time to just think it more freely, and you've met such and such people, and you've had a good sandwich or a bad sandwich, you kind of, the whole experience comes together. So I think it's a really good point. It's about taking time out and actually being able to use that to develop and learn and all that.
But what is missing also, I would say, is the noise that used to be there in Twitter. There still is activity in Twitter, there's hashtag, and there's still quite a few tweets, but not the way it used to be. You used to get nuggets coming from every vendor and from every presentation, and they were all streaming there all the time. Where are they going now? Are they all in Instagram? Are they all in TikTok?
I haven't actually been I've been so busy that I haven't been looking at it, but I know what you mean. I'm not unhappy that come and see us on stand 527.
No, not that one.
And so that we can, we can sell you stuff. Thankfully that's gone, but okay, that's good. We will reconvene as ever, and we're starting series 2 of the Enterprise Digital Podcast.
We are.
New guests. Maybe a little bit more video interspersed. But
I hear it's in fancy dress as well.
Sorry?
It's in fancy dress, season 2.
We should give me time to prepare for that one. But anyway, thanks very much, and
thanks,
we'll see everybody on the next edition of the podcast.
Looking forward to it.